CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
A Vancouver Island man has been sentenced to life in prison without parole for 2 violent murders. Darcy William Kozak admitted to confining, torturing and killing 45-year-old Kenneth Robinson in May 2007. Robinson was a disabled homeless man from Nanaimo. Kozak also pleaded guilty to murdering 44-year-old Kenneth Leask of Powell River. He was tortured and beaten and burned, then smothered in the fall of 2008. A judge described Kozak's acts as a manifestation of incomprehensible evil.
Obviously, the circumstances of this case are extremely disturbing. The court used very strong language in pronouncing sentence today. The judge talked about Mr. Kozak's conduct in relation to the 2 murders as being grotesquely cruel and acts of incomprehensible evil. He spoke very strongly with respect to the circumstances.
Kozak also pleaded guilty to manslaughter for his involvement in the death of Luc Delude, who he had met while in custody at the Wilkinson Road jail. The Quebec man was shot by a friend of Kozak, but both men then wrapped him in plastic while he was still alive. His body was found in an old bakery in Campbell River 2 months later. A Saanich woman was attacked and mugged at a bus stop outside the Uptown Shopping Centre in Saanich this morning. She was waiting for the bus at about 6:30 when a man with a weapon approached her and demanded her wallet. She tried to get away but fell and dropped her cell phone. He then grabbed that and took off on a bicycle. The man was Caucasian, about 35 years old, with an average build, small dark eyes with stubble and a broad nose, wearing a tan trench coat and dark cargo pants. If you know anything about the robbery, you're asked to contact Saanich Police. The Victoria Police Department says changes to the domestic violence unit are part of a restructuring that is taking officers off some beats and is adding them to others. The department says the move will provide better service to the community and give more attention to high-priority cases. Chief Jamie Graham says an independent review of the department will be unveiled next week, but it calls for at least 10 officers to be reassigned to the department's plainclothes unit to deal with high-profile and high-priority cases. One of those officers will be moved out of the domestic violence unit, which was formed after the Peter Lee case, in which the Victoria man killed his estranged wife, their son, and his wife's parents in a home on King George Terrace in 2007. Community liaison officers will also be reassigned to plainclothes duty, as well as patrol officers who respond to routine calls.
Yeah, I'm very confident with the level of training and expertise we bring to the table, but you know, this isn't the 1950s anymore, where money is there. It's just not there. The financial situation that we all find ourselves in mean that managers and executives have to make tough decisions. There's just not enough money to support everything we want to do, and we're doing our best.
Chief Graham says every member of the department receives specialized domestic violence training. Vic PD says on average there are about 140 cases of violence domestically reported each month. Of those cases, the specialized violence unit takes on only about 7. A 5th person has now been fired over allegations of breach of privacy and conflict of interest in BC's Ministry of Health. That person is one of the 3 who were suspended without pay over the scandal.
This was the first thing that I was briefed.
The Health Minister confirmed the firing, but will not reveal who the employee is or the specific accusations they face. She does say the termination relates to contracting irregularities and inappropriate grant practices at the ministry's Pharmaceutical Services Division. It was on September 6th that the province fired 4 people and suspended 3 without pay, also suspending contracts worth $4 million on drug research at the University of Victoria and the University of BC. Another candidate is vying for former Victoria MP Denise Savoy's seat. Charlie Beresford today launched her bid to become the NDP's candidate in the upcoming by-election in that federal riding. Beresford says she is opposed to the Enbridge Northern Gateway pipeline, and she believes that the country needs to restore its environmental protections.
We need to rebalance the national priorities, and we need to stand up for democracy, because it is most certainly not okay to muzzle climate scientists or other scientists, to restrict the information that we need to make better decisions. And it's certainly not okay to interfere with ordinary Canadians' ability to participate in decisions that will shape this country.
Beresford served as a school trustee in the Greater Victoria District for 12 years. Researchers left their labs today and hit the streets to bring attention to what they say is a shortfall. The scientists are standing up against the Harper government after major funding cuts, calling it the death of evidence. Hundreds of protesters in lab coats rallied in downtown Victoria today. The scientists are upset after sweeping cuts to government research labs and environmental monitoring programs. The protesters say without science there are no proven answers, and in a modern society we need evidence to support proper decision making.
If no one believes in science, then the world will not be in control anymore, because before we believe in science, we think that Earth is flat, but now we know that Earth is actually a globe. So if we don't have science knowledge, we can't do anything.
The agenda is that the federal government have made a decision that the Canadian future economy is going to be based about the hydrocarbon reserves in northern Alberta and Saskatchewan, and we're going to exploit them come hell or high water, and we'll just do whatever we can to eliminate any barriers to moving forward with that.
The scientists are also concerned that the budget cuts will ultimately mean staff layoffs. The Harper government announced its plans to kill off its own environmental advisory agency in July, while halting funding for an Arctic atmospheric research lab and shutting down a water pollution project. Well, NHL players are not the only ones who may be locked out of arenas this season. So too will be the superfans, and along with them, the mascots, official and unofficial. And the labor market may be so tough for them right now that some of those mascots are going door to door looking for work.
Where's Hudson Mack? Hudson Mack. Where is Hudson Mack? Hudson, sir. Where are you? There's a lockout and we need work. I can't see anything. What can we do? Can we have Joe Perkins' job? Can we? Yeah, you can. Done. Done.
Of course, I didn't realize Joe was standing right there. Joe's job is safe. No worries there. After the interview, we sent the green men in to see Astrid so they could try their hands doing what she does on the green screen. Of course, for the green men, that didn't work out too well. We had some fun visiting with Forrest and Sully. We'll have more on their visit to our newsroom a little later. Jordan has that a little later in sports. Well, in just over a week, the Tour de Rock team begins its epic 1,000-kilometer journey down Vancouver Island, raising money as they go for childhood cancer. And tonight, the riders are presented officially with their jerseys in a special ceremony. While they're training and preparing for the grueling ride, Islanders from Port Alice to Victoria are raising money to support them. And, of course, you can help, as you always do. One of the ways you can this weekend is the Adrenaline Zipline Adventure Tour with a treetop adventure. Tomorrow, in support of the Tour de Rock, you can take the zipline ride. The tour costs $70, and half the proceeds benefit the Canadian Cancer Society and the Tour de Rock fundraising goal of our own Aaron Glazier, who's our media rider this year. Adrenaline says you can help a good cause and have a thrill while you get a bird's eye view of the island.
So in that tour, they get a total of 8 different zip lines, 2 different suspension bridges, and a roughly 10-minute long ATV ride. And it's 2 hours long, fully guided, and you've got 2 fantastic guides with you for the entirety of your trip.
And you're flying through the trees.
You are flying through the trees with the greatest of beasts, so it's a lot of fun, and come out for a good time tomorrow.
The Tour de Rock riders are presented with their jerseys in the official ceremony tonight. It happens in a couple of hours in a gala at the Work Point Barracks in Esquimalt. We'll be there and show you that tonight on CTV News at 11. And Vancouver Islanders are also getting ready to go the distance this weekend at the 32nd annual Terry Fox Run. Organizers are setting up for the event. They got a helping hand from Terry's cousin, who says he is incredibly proud of Terry's legacy.
Terry is an integral part of Canadian society now. As of 1980, he's what galvanized the country, and forevermore will always be something that we as Canadians identify with.
And the movie chronicling Terry's miracle and what he did for this country will be played on the big screen tomorrow night at Mile Zero before they walk and run on Sunday. Victoria's Terry Fox Run kicks off at 10 o'clock at Mile Zero near Beacon Hill Park. One other thing to tell you about tonight, what fearless Vancouver Islanders have done, helped to raise more than $140,000 for children with disabilities. The 7th Easter Seals Drop Zone is being hailed as a huge success. Nearly 60 participants put on their brave faces, rappelling down the side of Victoria's CIBC building yesterday. Organizers say the 13-story drop gets more popular each year. Fundraisers this year included Mayor Frank Leonard from Saanich, who raised more than $4,800, the single biggest, and Island Safeway employees who raised $3,200. Our own Jordan Cunningham did his part. All money raised will go towards Easter Seal services on the island and Easter Seals Camp Shawnigan. Well, elementary school students in Esquimalt are using their creative skills to help light up the night. 450 students at Macaulay School are making papier-mâché balloon lanterns for Esquimalt's upcoming Lantern Festival. The event features local artists as well as fire dancers and live music. Organizers say the students are excited to be taking part in a festival filled with color, light, and talent.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest festivals in Esquimalt. Last year we had about 1,500 participants, mostly kids, and I think it's a great time for them. Not all of them like all parts of it. Some of them don't like to get their hands wet, but they all like playing with fire, and they all like admiring each other's work.
And they'll get to use those lanterns soon. The Lantern Festival in Esquimalt is next Saturday, September 22nd. Students in Duncan is trying to prevent world hunger, one bag of rice at a time. The students from Duncan Christian School kicked off the Rice Raiser fundraiser at Duncan's Thrifty Food Store today. For every bag of rice sold at Thrifty's, the grocery store will donate a bag of rice to a local food bank while giving proceeds to international hunger relief projects.
Talk about hunger relief with kids in school, and they get it, but what do you do? So many people feel, well, what can I do? And this is a project that's very practical. It allows us to actually impact hunger in the local community and also in global terms. So it's a practical event that kids can actually be a part of the solution.
The fundraiser runs all September at the Thrifty Food Store in Duncan. And if you live in Nanaimo and you recently received an empty bag in the mail, tomorrow is the day to fill it. Tomorrow is the province-wide Thanksgiving food drive, and staff are already making space at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in anticipation of the big day. All of the donated items will go to those in need this Thanksgiving.
It's not as bad as it looks. We were kind of making room for all the food because we're anticipating up 40 to 50 pallets of food, which we can hold 30 to 35 in here, so it'll be a jam-packed warehouse, hopefully, come tomorrow.
10,000 bags were dropped off at random homes in Nanaimo. If you have one, volunteers will be by between 9 and 10 tomorrow to pick them up. If you don't have one, and you would like to donate, you can do so by dropping off non-perishable food items at the church behind Rock City Plaza on Glen Eagle Crescent in Nanaimo between 9 and 3 o'clock.